Hello and welcome to our AI talk. No conference without AI talks these days. In my world, AI stands for automation intelligence or Ansible innovation. So who are we? I'm the head of the AI team, of the automation team at Datev, and it consists of a process automation. We all need tick lists or email chains to do our work. We have a software for this. So you can do this process and have less tick lists. And the other team is the Ansible team. They maintain the centralized Ansible automation platform in our company. About me, I started IT with SUSE Linux 5. Don't Google it. It's far away. And I'm starting with Ansible 2017, or better said, I'm automate my work and do less and be lazy. Now I'm so lazy that I have people to do my work, and Philip is one of my teammates.
Yeah, hey together. I'm Philip, and my official job title is System Engineer Automation. And I'm also part of the team automation at Datev, so Christian is my boss. And I started working with Ansible in 2020 when I started working at Datev as a working student. But now I'm a full member of this team. And compared to Christian, I'm not that lazy yet, but and I still have to automate a lot of things and until I get the lazy title officially. But I'm continuously making progress. So my last update was to shave my head like Christian and to be able to concentrate on more important things such as such as automation.
And now here you see two pictures of us doing manual work, and it's not good pictures. You see we have to do automation. To our company, our employer, it's the second largest German software company. The larger has fewer letters than us. Maybe you don't know Datev, but if you work in a German company, you have to look at your payroll. Right corner, you notice our logo. What we're doing, we do software for tax lawyers, auditors, lawyers, and we founded in 1966, so you can say we have a little bit experience with IT. We have an office, a whole Germany. We are starting to work in Poland, offices in Poland and in Czech Republic, but the majority of our employees are working in our head office in Nuremberg. Nuremberg is Franconia, not Bavaria. We are the one with the small sausage and the good beer. And the other one is the with the normal beer and the white sausage, and it's okay. So if you're searching a job and good beer, come to us. And now, topic change to Philip.
Yeah, to start the technical part of this presentation, let's talk first about Ansible in general. It's a free open source command line tool for automation that includes configuration management and software deployment. And to explain how the tool works in general, we usually use Ansible's 5 design goals. First of all, Ansible is minimal in nature, which means it doesn't require additional dependencies on the environment. With Ansible, you can create consistent environments. Ansible is secure. It doesn't deploy any agents to the target host. Only OpenSSH and Python are required on Linux, and WinRM and PowerShell on Windows hosts. Ansible is reliable. It works idempotent. That means if you define a desired state that the target system should assume, and if the target host already has the desired state, Ansible doesn't have to do anything. And by that, you can run these automations multiple times without changing the result. And last but not least, Ansible requires minimal learning effort because it uses an easy and descriptive language based on YAML and Jinja templates, which is really easy to understand and read. Next to this command line tool, there is AWX, or the Ansible automation platform, which our team is hosting at Dativ. Both AAP and AWX are a web-based GUI and API tool for groups who want to collaborate on automation efforts and to make Ansible more accessible to people with a wide range of IT skill sets. The access to these platforms is role-based, so that several departments in the organization or company can control access to automations. For example, give lower access rights to non-admins. Moreover, you can schedule automations, which means you can run automations on a regular basis or at a specific time. There are also dashboards and so on. While AWX is free, unsupported, AAP is a subscription enterprise product by Red Hat. Among other things, AAP includes service level agreements, so you can open a support case, for example, if you detect a bug at the platform. And there's the private automation hub, which is an integrated on-premise repository where you can share and download Ansible content with your colleagues. At Dativ, we have around 500 platform usage, which is quite a lot, in 60 organizations, which corresponds to departments within the company. And there are also around 3,000 automations, and we have around 14,000 job runs every single day. And as these numbers suggest, we as platform operators have to interact with a lot of people. And since we are all IT people, you know that we are naturally afraid of people. And therefore, we automate almost all tasks that require our support as platform operators. For example, to get access to AAP, we have to be a member of a certain user group, and we have a self-service for that. To publish automations on the platform, you and your team need an organization. We have also a self-service for that. To authorize smaller sub-teams, for example, non-admin users within your department, you have to create a team for that, and as you can already guess, we have a self-service for that. But this is just a small portion of our self-service offer. And to ensure that not only platform users can benefit from our self-services, we've implemented a solution that Christian will present you now.
Short question. Everybody is a tech user here. So I think I have a secret for you. There are people out there who don't know IT as well as we do. I call them non-tech users, or in my special case, mom. And those don't want 1,000 buttons or settings to start an automation in their user interface. They want a simple interface like Google. Maybe you know Google, it's only one field and 2 buttons or 1 button. Maybe without a field, but they don't know what to search. And without a button. So the system has to do what they want in their mind. If those people have access to your Ansible controller or AWX, they are lost. They are lost in the menus, special submenus, menus. And if you mention to give support to such people, you say, yeah, you have to click template. And then the answer is, why template? I want to start an automation that extend my drive. Or those people start to clicking around, try and error. What's this? A security menu? What I want to hide? Can I get in? As a good IT guy, we have read the documentation, you confirm. And we noticed this problem with our users. Our system users made automations for the non-tech users. And we created a simple and beautiful portal for the use case. So as Ansible developer, you write the playbook. You create the Ansible template in the controller for the techies, for your colleagues. And then, if your automation is for the whole company, for the non-tech users, you go in our portal, there's a self-service, you can publish your playbook or template to the whole company or special role, and that's fine. The special thing is you can pre-fill some variables, don't show to the user. So generic automation becomes a single use case automation, which you can start by pressing only one button. Or the non-tech user can only hit the button, extend my drive, and it's fine. And you can save you and your platform administrations from creating Ansible users for the whole company. Greetings to the security team. They don't want everyone to use everything, and that's a security option too.
Okay. For our Ansible automation platform, we set up multiple systems and on multiple stages because of the staging principle. You know that. So there was a time when we got new systems almost every week, and each of these systems have a similar or even the same structure, which entails that some operations they repeat on every time and for every setup. Some of these tasks are on the slide. For example, managing users and sudo deploy files and set its permissions, deploy and install software, generate and distribute SSH keys for password-free logins, and many more. And all these tasks are repeated, and when there are new systems in the future for extending high availability, for example, you would have to do the same operations again and again and again. And you also, as you already know, Christian and me, we are too lazy to do the same task over and over again. And that's why we automated our IT operational tasks with Ansible, or short Ansible-AWX. On the right-hand side of the slide, you can see some example code of Ansible. We have a loop variable defined for our file deployment and set the ownerships and the permissions for each of these files. And in the corresponding Ansible task, we loop through all these files and deploy with the defined ownership and permissions on the target systems. Ansible works inventory-based, so that you create your inventory file with all target hosts, and then Ansible can execute the file deployment on each of these targets simultaneously. At the bottom right of the slide, the task for the generation and distribution of the SSH keys are shown. Here we generate the SSH key for one user on each target system, and then copy the generated keys to the locally checked out Git repository. Later in that automation, we push these keys to our Git server and distribute them to all the other target hosts. At this point, it's worth mentioning that we have all our automations and config files on Git, and then create feature branches for new tasks, packages, and so on. We also store our personal home directories in Git and deploy them from there to all our systems the same way, so that all admins don't have to set their personal settings manually everywhere. And for now, back to Christian, who will tell you another use case that is also controlled from Git.
Philip showed you the lazy way to do our normal daily work, and here's another case that you should not in our daily routine. You see the guy, he's sleeping and he wakes up, and good and healthy sleep is a goal which mostly everyone wants to reach. But software bugs exist, and they're annoying us and prevent us from healthy sleep. We have a solution for that. Explanation, we had an error. We found an error once in AWX. There was a bug. If you have hex code in your log entries and send it to Splunk, Splunk return an HTTP 400. And the syslog daemon, where the AWX system consists, was miffed and stopped working. The syslog daemon said, yeah, if you don't understand me, I don't talk to you more. What was the normal solution? We get an escalation mail, hopefully from the monitoring and not from the customer. And then find the log entry in the logs where this problem is. Now you have the system name from the system where the not working system D is located. Then go to the system, restart the syslog D, and close the monitoring event. Everything is fine. But this happened so often, we did automate this. So we could hit one repair button if the event shows up. And at this time, we don't know the root case. So there's a problem, system D doesn't work, restart, everything is fine. But we find it out because we are German engineers. And we open an issue in the AWX community for the problem, describe it, and we wait for the fix. But nothing happened. It turned out they didn't prioritize the issue like us. Open source communities don't like Splunk. Oops, wow, what an insight. But back to work. So we are so lazy that we don't want to hit the repair button every time. So we discussed and we found our solution, connecting the dots, connecting the monitoring with the repair automation. We use the monitoring event to trigger the repair automation. The monitoring event was an email. We send it to GitLab in a repo, and then use the webhook features of GitLab, trigger the automation. So we extend the automation with issue documentation and delegate the issue to the person who writes the playbook, or did write the playbook, and which triggered the error. And in this email was a short link to our documentation for the workaround. Please do this, or get more emails. And this was the solution. Everything was fine for us. So now you can say, what is there an error? If we don't expect this error, a new error, nothing happened. In this case, Ansible restart. In our case, Ansible restarted the syslog-D. That's not a big problem. In other cases, Ansible works idempotent. So if you check some configs or files or daemons, Ansible set the config or the daemon state to your default value, not to this value with on the system. So summing up the problem, we have a downtime less than a minute, maybe some couple of seconds. We have happy customers because they have logs. We have happy and well-rested Ansible operators. So we do this solution in 2020, and I was at the Ansible Fest in 22, and Red Hat announces event-driven Ansible. I sat in the menu and said, whoa, we did this. So it's 2 years, but this is a solid product. Our solution is I call it a wooden bridge. So you can connect several event sources, like files, APIs, or message queues, to start an automation. So, and now, we read the Ansible, the EDA, event-driven Ansible documentation, to implement it. Apropos documentation, everyone loves to write documentation, is right? Philip, please.
Yeah, documentation is very important, Christian, thank you. But because recently we've received many requests from platform users who want to know which packages or collections are installed on the container. Because at the AAP, for every job run, there's a new container built, and we as admins define the container images. And because we are lazy, we didn't want to write an answer with the same content to every customer. So the solution was documentation, obviously. And because we don't want to update the documentation every time a new package is installed or a new collection is on the container, we wrote an automation for that and called it Autodocs. Within the playbook, we run an Ansible Navigator command that shows all the details of the currently deployed container image and saved the information in an Ansible variable. Moreover, we've created an HTML template and used it to publish the image details on Confluence. And on the right side, you can see the corresponding task for that. So we use the URI module to interact with the Confluence API, and the result is shown here. The page layout is maybe not the masterpiece yet, but the customer gets every information that he or she needs. And this automation can also be used to show minor changes, for example, to show new packages or collections or version updates. By running the Autodocs automation every night, we are one of the few teams at Dativ with a daily updated documentation and a happy customer. And as a result, we're saving service tickets, resources, and the interaction with the customer. Yeah, and then one last tasty use case before we release you to the well-deserved lunch break. It's the Schäufele automation. As Christian already mentioned, in Franconia we have the good beer, but there's there's also a famous traditional dish which is made from the pig's shoulder, and it's called Schäufele. And a lot of restaurants with local foods in Nuremberg offer Schäufele, including the Dativ canteen. At the same time, we have a lot of co-workers who work from home, and they are just as lazy as we are, and so they don't come into the office. To counteract this, we had the idea to lure them into the office by writing an automation that automatically reads the Dativ menu every week and sends an email notification when there is Schäufele. And within the playbook, we read the Dativ menu via the corresponding API endpoint and save the response information. Then we loop through all the menu items and send an email to the distribution list of our coworkers if the dish matches the keyword we've searched for. And no joke, not all but a few colleagues were directed by the notification, and they now come into the office on a more regular basis. In the meantime, we are not the only ones using this automation, as we have also made it public for all Dativ employees in our self-service portal, which Christian presented earlier. And there, every Dativ employee can subscribe now for any dish that he likes, for example, the famous Berliner Currywurst or some veggie burger, for example.
Summary of our slot. Be lazy. We are lazy, and we feel good with that. We automate everything, every task, which can come a second time or third time. So we save time and money. We use our one-time system setup, the Ansible-AWX, as a security feature too. So Ansible is idempotent, so you can track changes on your system. With Ansible, you can do much more than installing software or configuring software. You can read APIs or configs and convert them, the output, to other tasks. For input for other tasks, maybe the Schäufele automation or the Autodocs. We don't buy super special tools. If we have one existing tool, we can use in other ways. E.g., GitLab is our event source for our auto health and repair the problem which exists. So 80% of the users use 20% of the function from a software. I hope we are the other 20%. And think out to the user. They don't want to see every possible settings. Simplicity is the key for the interface, for the user interface. And last but not least, Schäufele attracts people to the office. And thank you very much. And now, any questions?
Exactly. Plenty of time. There's one question over there, so one moment. One after the other.
So when you expose some runbooks to your self-service portal, most of the runbooks need some input. Which host do you run it? This host has to be in the inventory, and the user you provide this self-service to has to be allowed to run this playbook for this host. So how do you exchange the information with your self-service portal to your central Ansible platform? So that it's getting the inventory information, the permission the user has to run which playbooks on which runbooks, and how do you actually run it? Do you use an event source, webhooks, whatever?
We use the API for the controller, and you can give the API the information for the inventory or for the variables you use in your automation. And the portal didn't show everything. If you mentioned this, you said you can set some variables and hide them for the customer. So if you write the playbook and it's need the system name or the path, the user path from the home directory. So you can hide, you can write it into this variable and hide them for the user. So the user clicks only the button, and then normally we all have home directories with our user ID in this. Then passes the user ID in this variable automatically. So the user don't have to write it down.
Does that answer the question? Part of it. Do you want to follow up?
And
or
your second question was to connect this.
Yes.
Keep it simple. There's a technical user who runs every playbook in our solution. So if you're a playbook developer, you have to make a technical user allow your playbook to run, and this is the technical user of the portal. So we make the real person hits the button in the portal starts in technical user to run the playbook, and this is allowed. And didn't show you cannot use the self-service in the portal to make your Ansible playbook as a self-service. There's a self-service for the self-service, and without the user is allowed to be in access to the playbook or template. It's a little bit complicated. Maybe buy a coffee.
So there was another question over here, I think.
First of all, I must say, really, really cool how you really go like to the user, to the non-technical user, take them out of their caveman status, and give them something they like as a kind of incentive to think more about automation. And I think this is really smart from a product management perspective. The thing that I was really wondering about when looking at your code examples is maintainability. It would seem to me that after a couple of years of doing that, you will have a mess not less complex than Puppet and other things that might be really painful to maintain.
Which tool?
Like Puppet.
I don't know. We only use Ansible.
I understand that you use Ansible, but I mean, I see complexity rising, and I would wonder how you ensure long-term maintainability of that stack and all these recipes.
We are only we're making only the platform service. So if he comes and wants to use our platform, he comes with his code, and not with our. We don't write playbooks for any platform users. We only maintain the platform. So if he is allowed, sorry, yeah, you are a good person. You write very good Ansible code, but if he doesn't write it more, better, nicer, it's his problem. We only made the platform, like AWS. AWS don't know the applications who runs on this. So we are making the platform for our users and our self-services. And so we maintain our code themselves, and it's normal iteration. If a self-service goes fine, you don't have to get the code, and if it doesn't, you optimize it.
And it looks more than it really is, because we only maintain our systems and only the systems that are needed for the setup of the Ansible automation platform. So Yeah.
There's another question in the back.
As a follow-up actually to this, so in bigger companies you end up in like everybody writes their own playbooks, there you have these silos, and what you actually want is that you share code between the teams and facilitate this. So how is this platform then enabling this maybe? That I can execute the playbook of a colleague on my system, or we can write it together?
That's other slot. We can make other presentation for this. No, long thing short, we have an internal Ansible community, and we share the knowledge with the people. We made meetups every quarter, year, 3 to 5 months. Show them new features from Red Hat or from Ansible. Show them new self-service from us. Show them our code, and the community growth is so big that they now sharing code each other. Shown in they made a presentation. I have a load balancer automation, and in sharing in this community rule. And for the other things, you have with the AAP. You have a private automation hub like Galaxy, but in your company, so you can share your special code to your team or to others. We have an automation for opening documentation changes, ITIL something. We share this code to our clients, so they can use it. They can use it in their playbooks or in the platform. Like we made a template for this, and they can make a workflow, open the change the change, and close the change. So we build it on different levels: the community, and then the technique.
Any more questions? Ah, yes, I'm coming around.
So So I'm trying to tie together what you just said in the last 3 answers. So that means that you have your own automation platform, which means this is the platform that people run things on, and the automations that you build only run on that platform in the platform context, and people can choose to run these automation in the platform context. On the other hand, you have a, let's call it marketplace, where other people can also add their automations, and then can tell other people, well, I have this automation here, and you seem to run a similar application than we do, or as we do, so maybe you want to also run this automation. Do I understand that correctly?
That's you mean the private automation hub. It's like a marketplace for Ansible playbooks or Ansible modules or collections. It's if you're familiar with Ansible. No, a little bit. There's in the internet. There's the open source automation hub. It's called Galaxy. So everyone can share his automation, his modules, his collections. And this is part in the AAP. You have it private on-prem in your company, only for your company. So some companies are less open source because they have in fintech or taxes or something.
No, I'm really interested around your company, because that means, because there was the question, can people run other people's code or only their own code? And so you have your platform code, your platform automation that has been run on the platform. What is with other people's code that write automation for their use cases? Can they share that?
They can share it.
So you're running like an internal marketplace for these snippets, for these automation recipes?
There are 3 types. You can share it on the Ansible platform, your role-based access. You want my automation in your use case, I give you the permission to use it. You don't see the code, but you have the permission to hit the button. The second is the private automation hub. I give you the code in a centralized. And the third one is for the non-tech user, the self-service portal. So they only hit the button.
Yeah, that ties it up really well for me as well. Any more questions? Okay, then I got one, because you mentioned that you're auditing the installed packages. I think that was one of the use cases you explained, using Ansible Navigator. I never heard of that. Can you explain what that is?
I'm not the pro with Ansible Navigator, but you can just put this command and the image ID of the container image, and then it's like mainframe tool that you can go through the collections and stuff with the versions that are installed. That will be deployed within the container image. Yeah.
So it's more for testing, command line testing tool.
Exactly.
So,
Okay,
so you don't have to push your code to the platform, so you can run locally.
I see. Okay. Well, I think that wraps it up nicely. If there aren't any more questions, then thanks again for your talk. Give a warm applause once more.